A dangerous storm system is sweeping across parts of the Ohio Valley and Midwest. And at the same time, extreme heat surges into the Rockies and the plains, with the Southwest potentially getting temperatures up to 115 degrees. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what you need to know about the forecast over the next few days, so let's get right into it. It's Saturday, August 1st, 2026, and this is our severe weather outlook for today. We do have a storm system that is going to be sweeping across the Midwest and Ohio Valley. This is expected to cause a severe weather potential going from Alabama all the way up into parts of Indiana and Ohio. The Storm Prediction Center is specifically highlighting the area from northeastern Alabama through eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, up into southeastern Indiana and southwestern Ohio for the bigger chances for some severe weather today. Damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour will be a possibility, so make sure you're strapping out on secured objects if you're in this highlighted area. The main concern I'm watching for that damaging wind potential today will be inside of that 15% damaging wind potential. The environment does support a potential for some spin, which could allow for a few brief spin-up tornadoes to happen, mainly out here in Louisville, Kentucky, Indianapolis, Indiana, Cincinnati, Ohio, over down there towards eastern Tennessee. So definitely be prepared for maybe a tornado. I'm not too concerned about this potential, but it is at least something to keep an eye on. At the same time, we're going to get more storms to develop out here in the southwest, which is also expected to lead to severe weather throughout a big portion of New Mexico and across western Texas and southeastern Arizona. I'm mainly watching a potential for damaging winds down here, as well as maybe a potential for hail, mainly around Albuquerque and Santa Fe, New Mexico. We have a low pressure system that's going to be positioned over parts of Illinois today. South of that low pressure system, we're going to get our main storms to develop to produce some damaging winds and a few tornadoes. I'm mainly watching the time frame between 3 and 8 p.m. today for the main concern for these storms. And I'm specifically watching from northern Alabama all the way up into southwestern Ohio for the main concern for these storms today. Indianapolis, I'd watch for a potential for a storm around between 2 and 4 p.m. Eastern today. We could get a damaging storm out there, but I think it will mainly be some excessive rainfall chance, as you're going to be farther up towards that low pressure system, which is not going to be as favorable in that, like right where that low pressure system is, but farther down south is where our main storms are going to be expected today. These storms are going to continue pushing east into parts of the Appalachian Mountains as we get into the overnight hours, but they are expected to start dying down as we lose daylight heating, which we get some stuff to cool down and the sun kind of goes away. Because of that, we lose the instability for the storms, and then the storms will start dying off because they don't have that much storm fuel to work with anymore in the night. Also do have a few storms possible down here in the southwest today. I'm not expecting these to be too significant, but some damaging winds will be a possibility out here over there in New Mexico, over down towards western Texas and southeastern Arizona today. So make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts if you're out here. These storms are combining with instability that we need for these storms. This is convective available potential energy, which kind of shows storm fuel. It shows where we have the most unstable environment for these storms to really get going, and you can see we do got a decent amount of CAPE in these areas, getting around to 2,000 joules per kilogram out here in parts of the Ohio Valley today. So I would definitely make sure you're strapping on unsecured objects so they don't fly away with these damaging wind potentials, especially. But we could also see a few tornadoes with that spin that we actually have in our atmosphere. This storm system will start to move farther east as we get into tomorrow on Sunday. This will start to impact parts of the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic tomorrow on Sunday, so definitely make sure to be prepared for that, as the storms are going to redevelop tomorrow by the same storm system, producing damaging winds mainly, because we're going to get some of that storm fuel and some of that instability to come back as we get into the afternoon to evening hours tomorrow. You can see this is what our severe weather outlook looks like tomorrow. We could see a few isolated severe storms tomorrow going from northeastern Georgia up into parts of western New York, with the main concerns being inside of that green highlighted area where we could see some severe storms tomorrow. I'm mainly looking at a chance for some damaging winds and some small hail. I do think the tornado threat will be very low, but if we do get a tornado tomorrow, we could see one between western Virginia up into parts of western Pennsylvania, where that's most of our atmospheric spin is going to be. Storm Prediction Center is actually highlighting a few potential for a few isolated severe storms to happen up here in North Dakota, where we could see a few isolated severe storms pop up around Bismarck. So you guys want to be making sure to be prepared for that as well. I'm pretty confident in storms developing tomorrow and producing a pretty widespread damaging wind threat all the way from parts of central Georgia all the way up into parts of the northeast. These storms are mainly going to be some normal thunderstorms, but definitely a few damaging storms will be a possibility in there that could turn severe. So definitely make sure you're staying prepared in this highlighted area tomorrow for maybe some gusty to severe storms, or they might just be some normal thunderstorms. We're also going to have a decent excessive rainfall threat that's going to set up out here tomorrow, so definitely make sure you're staying prepared for this. And I'm confident in maybe a few lines of storms to develop out here in parts of western New York and parts of northwestern Pennsylvania tomorrow, which those storms could produce some damaging winds mainly. So we're going to have to watch these storms very closely, and then they're going to start to die out as we get into the overnight hours. Cleveland, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, you guys are in first in line for those storms tomorrow in the afternoon. Then they're going to start pushing east into the overnight hours and will impact Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Rochester. I also am pretty confident in potentially a few storms going into Atlanta, Georgia tomorrow, which could produce some gusty winds, maybe even severe winds. So around the Atlanta, Georgia area tomorrow, you guys are going to be having multiple ways to receive weather alerts, and you guys could see another round of rain after that in the overnight hours. We do have a conditional threat tomorrow out here in Bismarck, North Dakota. We don't actually know if storms will fire, but if they do, they could be severe. So that's why we only got a marginal risk up here in North Dakota tomorrow. The confidence in storms developing are low, but if they do, they could be severe. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. If you're in the marginal risk out here, you guys might not even get a drop of rain, because we might not even get storms to form at all, but if they do, they could be severe. It doesn't stop there. The atmosphere is gearing up to produce another severe weather potential on Monday, August 3rd, across parts of western Nebraska up into parts of northern Minnesota. So I'm watching Monday closely for a pretty dangerous severe weather potential out here. So this is going to change a little bit, so we're going to have to watch this closely. We could also actually see a few isolated severe storms going from southeastern Pennsylvania all the way up into southern New Hampshire on Monday as well, with that same storm system that's going to cause the severe weather today and tomorrow. Could see a few isolated severe storms on Monday in these areas, so also be prepared if you're out there. Now, Monday is kind of a different story. I am actually confident in storms developing on Monday rather than storms developing on Sunday, so definitely be prepared for that if you're out there on Monday across parts of the northern plains up there in parts of northern Minnesota, across parts of North Dakota. I'm confident in storms potentially developing and producing mainly a damaging wind potential, but I also wouldn't rule out a potential for some hail with those storms. They could be pretty late night storms that pop up out here. It's kind of just to give you a look at it. The Rufus model is not going to be the most accurate model for this type of stuff, but it's the only high resolution, long range model that we kind of have. So that's kind of what this is looking like right now. We're going to have a low pressure system that's going to push through these areas, and that's just going to bring in that storm system. That's going to produce a few storms into the overnight hours mainly, and then we're going to lose some of that daylight heating, and then those storms are going to die down. So they will have the time frame for that severe weather is going to be limited for those storms to be severe, so they probably won't be severe too long. We also see some of those severe storms go up here into Canada and around Dryden, Canada, so be prepared for that. So it's not just going to be in the United States. And those storms actually could go all the way down there towards Nebraska and parts of South Dakota. That's going to be more of a conditional threat, whether the storms turn severe if they do develop. If we go ahead and look at our storm fuel for Monday, you can see that we do have plenty of storm fuel on Monday for those severe storms that are possible out here. So we could be getting up to around 2,000 to maybe even closer to 3,000 joules per kilogram out here. But as we lose daylight heating, that's kind of going to go away. So, and I'm expecting storms to fire probably between 8 and 9 p.m. rather than any sooner than that. So they're probably going to have more of a shorter time frame to actually produce some of those damaging wind gusts and stuff like that. All that severe weather is happening. Parts of the Rockies and the Southwest is going to get absolutely baked in the sun, with temperatures climbing into potentially up into the 115 area. So we could be seeing very warm temperatures out there in the Southwest over the next few days. So make sure you're staying hydrated, as it's very important to be staying hydrated if you're out here. This is going to heavily impact Death Valley, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, over there towards Los Angeles and San Francisco, California. We're going to be seeing very warm temperatures, and these are going to be getting up to around 115 degrees, which is very hot, and it's definitely something that you want to be staying hydrated for. This is also going to bake parts of the southern plains especially as well over the next few days, so definitely be staying hydrated out there. Also, don't be leaving anybody in the hot car, not even a minute, because it's going to be very, very hot out here, and the car can climb like very fast into the hundreds potentially in just like less than a minute. Like it can get really warm in the car really, really fast. So don't leave your pets or anything in the car. Don't even take your pets outside because it's going to be very warm temperatures out here. While that severe weather is happening today and tomorrow, I'm actually looking at a pretty big fire weather threat, especially setting up out here in parts of Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Montana. The Storm Prediction Center has actually marked a extreme risk for fire weather today out here. In these areas, especially in that pink, that's going to be the area I'm watching it closest for a fire outbreak today. I mean, we could be seeing quite a few wildfires potentially pop up out here today, so definitely don't be throwing your cigarette out the window, as we're going to have gusty winds combining with dry, warm air. And that's all that fuel that you need to start a fire very quickly. That's actually going to continue as we get into tomorrow on Sunday out here, so please be prepared for that big fire weather potential. And that is pretty much all I got for you in today's forecast. Make sure to slap a like on this video, make sure to subscribe, and shout out to Mila for sharing my YouTube channel to a weather person in Pennsylvania. Thank you a lot, and thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you for all my new subscribers. I'm going to continue doing weather forecasts over the next few days. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.